A very warm welcome to the mid-morning pack right here on NBC TV. Happy New Year, happy 2023. It is good to have you once again in this particular show. This is your weekly show that comes every Wednesday from 10:30 to 12. And here we discuss matters, current affairs, topical issues, matters affecting the society and everything in between. What an year was 2022. The year of election, and we really thank God that the election was peaceful. And now we have 2023. What is the interest for the government? This is what we want to look at even as we start this particular year. Karibu sana. My name is Mangicho Mola, and as usual in this particular show, I'm being joined by my co-host Paul Kagi. Good to see you in 2023.
Hello, good morning, Mangicho Mola, and viewer, wherever you are, welcome to this program this morning, the Mid-Morning Pack, the first program for the year 2023. And I'm happy to be here so that you can be able to enlighten you on various issues that are affecting our country. And I hope you have started your year very, very well. I'm optimistic that this year is going to be a year of a great things for you. And as we continue today in our program, we are looking forward for various issues. One, we are looking forward for a very publicized meeting for the president and his executive. Today also we are looking forward for a by-election tomorrow for Kandera constituency, whereby we are having a by-election. And also we are looking forward for a petition filed by the LSK to be able to challenge the legality of the CDF money, which is about to be dispersed from today. Again, we are going to look forward to other issues that we have laid down for you in our mid-morning this morning. How are you? My name is Paul Kagi. Once again, welcome to the mid-morning pack.
Definitely, that's a very good point of view on what we are expecting in this particular year. And thank you so much. We also want to welcome you to interact with us and also to share your opinions with us. And of course, some of the key issues that we'll also be focusing on is Ruto's 100 days scorecard. Yes, 100 days scorecard of the government of His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto. How has it performed so far? And what do we project? Or maybe what is it that we are going to expect even as we continue in the coming days? And of course, we also look at the state of the economy. How is the economy today? What is it that has been achieved? What is it that has not been achieved? And of course, as my colleague Kagi pointed out, we'll be able to look at the cabinet meeting that is scheduled to happen to kick off from tomorrow and be able to see what is it that has actually happened. But even maybe before we come to this, Kagi, what an year, 2022.
Of course, it's a good year.
Yes.
It has started very well.
No, I'm talking about 2022.
2022.
Yeah. What an year it was.
It was a little bit of challenging year,
yes,
because there were many issues at hand. And the first issue that was there that was a bit challenging was the issue of the elections that we had, which was a two-horse race. It was just a very competitive election.
Okay.
And at the beginning of the year, we didn't know what will happen.
Yeah.
We knew that there's a lot of push and pull on the political arena.
Right.
And by August, nobody knew who would be the president of the Kenya, because Ruto and Raila were really moving at the same pace.
It was a hotly contested.
It was a hotly contested kind of competition.
Yes.
Again, it was a year whereby we were looking forward for very serious changes in the country. You see, when we have a change in politics, things change.
Yeah, yeah.
Again, we are also worried about the repeat of elections, petitions, and people are worried that elections are going to go this December. But luckily, by August, we finished everything. But again, it is a year whereby we had a challenge of economic upside. You remember?
Yeah, yeah.
Rise of fuel, food prices, you know, which even today we still have a challenge with that.
Sure.
So there were two things which are very main, the election and the issue of economic challenges of our nation.
Exactly. And just to add on what you've tackled about the election, that is an election that the entire country was looking forward to, and in spite of maybe the challenges that we had. But one thing that maybe came out very strongly is that the prevalence of peace.
Yes, yes.
In spite of the fact that that election was rejected by the Azimio side. But of course, they took the legal way.
Yes.
This time round, we didn't see the infamous Monday, Machozi Monday,
Yes.
and the Mandamano thing. But I think that is one thing that we really need to be proud of as a country, okay, that we can do an election. It can actually be conducted peacefully, regardless of maybe the outcome and maybe regardless of maybe what a particular side will say. I think that is something that is very positive, and we are looking forward maybe even maybe in 2027 to another peaceful election.
Yes, and of course, despite that the election was too close, there was no signs of maybe people fighting each other because of the history of our country.
Yeah.
We are happy that now we have matured politically.
Sure.
You see, when we have done an election like this one, you know, when you look at our history, when you do an election, and then it's very close, we are stressed with the issue of maybe trying to fight each other. But now we are mature, and I believe that we as Kenyans will never go back to such kind of a culture again.
Exactly, and of course that one also helps even in terms of investment, in terms of business opportunities, because we know there is a history in this particular country. Whenever we have elections, investors tend to run away because they associate our electioneering period with a lot of mayhem.
Maybe what is remaining now away from that is whereby we develop a culture whereby after an election, we put the election behind. Now we start working for Kenyans and wait for maybe campaigns a year or 2 years before election. But at least for 3 years, we keep away from the election politics, which Musyoka is not agreeing with us. But we can be able to think about our people, you see. We have the government in place, it must be allowed to work. Then the government should not go into the trap of also joining the politics of 2027. Yes.
And just to remind you, our dear viewer, that you can join us and you can actually participate in this particular conversation. You can catch us live on our Facebook page, that is MBCI TV, and also on our YouTube page, that is MBCI TV Official. You can catch us live. You can catch us live on those two social media pages, and also on our SMS platform, that is 23814. 23814. You can drop a comment or two. The question that we are asking you: what percentage do you give the government for the first 100 days in office? What percentage do you give the government for the first 100 days in office? Out of 100, maybe would you give them 60? Would you give them 50? Would you give them 40? What do you think? Or maybe what is your analysis of how the government has actually performed in the first 100 days in office? And we'll be able to sample some of your opinions, or actually some of your comments as far as this particular conversation is concerned, and also be able to see what is it that is your feeling, what is it that is your opinion on the same. And later on, shortly, we'll be joined by Dr. Peter Mbai, who is a governance and leadership consultant. He will help us to actually also be able to see or to be able to make sense of some of these key aspects that has actually happened. And I know, Kagi, as we say, I think the other issue other than the election, this government actually came on the platform of the economy, and we know there are issues that are actually happened, some in the country, some beyond, or maybe affected outside the country, and had a lot of impact as far as the economy is concerned. And I think this is one of the things that, even as we start the year, will be very key.
Yes, and of course, we know that by the end of last year, as we were saying, people were very challenged in terms of the hike of economics, the increase of food prices, which even today we're still experiencing the challenge. And therefore, the government has really a huge task to be able to help the country to lower the food prices. Right. And of course, yesterday, the Minister for Agriculture, Mithika Linturi, promised that by February, March there, the price of unga and mainly rice the major foodstuffs in our country is going to lower down.
Sure.
And that is a prayer of everybody, that when you go to supermarket with 1,000 shillings, you can buy 2 kilos of unga, you see? And therefore, it's true, and I believe this is one of the things has made the president to go to Sagana Lodge in Nyeri to be able to look into ways in which to arrest the situation, which seems to be very dire today.
Exactly, and I think we'll be looking at that one in details even as we, in a short while when we usher in our guest. But even as we talk about that thing about the cabinet meeting in Nyeri, I think that is something that also the entire country will actually be looking at.
Yes.
Because we also want to find out how is it that these cabinet secretaries, I think it's also be a way of really gauging how is each and every one of them actually performing. I think that is something also that will be of interest and be of discussion. But you know, tomorrow there will be a by-election?
Yes. Kandara Muranga.
Kandara and also in Garissa.
In Garissa.
Occasioned by the appointment. Yeah, appointment of Alice Wahome.
Yes, the CS for
the
water.
CS for water, and also Aden Duale.
The CS for defense.
You know
what about Marakwet, senatorial seat?
Yeah, Marakwet.
Marakwet.
Okay, yeah. So that is something. And all these seats, they had gone to UDA. Are we really likely to see some changes?
Yeah. Let's see, and let's just wait and see what will happen.
Or they're likely to remain there.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that is something else that we'll also be looking at. And of course, also in terms of education, the president has actually mentioned quite a number of things. There is the conversation about the scrapping of the Higher Education's Loans Board.
Yes.
Yeah, they have.
And they reintroduce another bigger body, which the president says is going to add more money into that, the board that is going to support people in the education sector.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it is going to affect those people who want to further their studies like us.
Somebody was asking if help is going to be scrapped, will it be scrapped with all the loans thousands of students have, those who have already finished? I think that is also something that will be looked into. And even as we talk about academics, again, we also know that this is going to be an year whereby we'll have the introduction of the junior secondary.
Yes, and I think there's a small challenge because the system is very new. Of course, for something that is very new, it has its own challenges. But I believe because they are starting with a positive note, they will make it. Though there are going to be some challenges. You know, there are some schools which don't have the junior secondary. They don't have. I don't know what is going to happen. Though we know that the government is employing some new teachers. One of the reasons why the new teachers are being employed is to add some to the junior secondary, because that gap is there, right? And also there are some worries with the parents. Before the school opens on 23rd of January, there might be an increase of school fees. There's some money that was removed, the subsidies of school fees by the government.
Exactly.
I feel it is going to affect the school fees for this term.
That is something that
it might.
Yeah, but there's also the positive side about the employment of I think around 30,000 teachers.
Yes.
I think which is a very positive very positive action, bearing in mind that we've had challenges of shortage of teachers to actually be able to address the higher number of students and pupils, because we now have the 100% transition in our academic sector.
Very true, right. And also, as much as they look at the employing more teachers in the primary and secondary school, there is one area that is very much ignored, the ECDE side, or the former nursery school teachers. They are very few. Most of them are not employed by the government, yet they are the ones who prepare students to go to the grade 1, 2, and 3. We need government to look into ways of absorbing these teachers in the system to make them concentrate in training these young learners in the lowest level. Instead of relying on the parents to pay them the salary, and very small salary, you know.
Yeah, exactly. That is also something that will also be looked at. I think the other thing that maybe just highlighting some of the things that have actually been happening before we get into the nitty-gritties of our conversation today, the issue of insecurity in the North Rift is still something that the government has a lot of work to do. Unfortunately, we lost 2 young girls.
Yes, school children.
Of banditry.
And yesterday, there was experienced the same problem there, yeah, in that corridor, whereby the bandits came and they harassed people, they stole cattle. And yesterday's meeting, which was held there, really challenged the government to be able to rethink on how to address that issue. Even the residents there, they said that this challenge is not an ordinary challenge. You know, some were saying they wanted to test if the Ruto's government is capable of dealing with bandits, you know. And therefore, it's an issue because we have history of that corridor. Yes. It's a history that need to be taken seriously because since Moi's time, I can clearly recall it was still there. Kibaki's reign, it was there. Uhuru's reign, it was there. Ruto's reign, it is coming up, though I believe that the Ruto's regime, because himself personally, seems to be determined to be able to deal with the bandits. Yeah,
and I think that is one area that actually they'll have to look into, because this is something that has now become, it has become a disaster. It should almost be declared a national disaster, because losing people year after year, year after year, and one would want to wonder, or one wonders, what is it that these people really have that maybe the government does not have? What kind of machinery?
And I think there are 2 challenges: the banditry on the northern corridor, and then in the coastal part of Kenya, we have that region whereby people are being threatened by the terrorists. You remember? In the areas of Boni Forest, around that region, areas of Taita Taveta, we are having a challenge of terrorists who are coming either from Somalia to come and interfere with the peace of locals there. So we have 2 major challenges in that arena.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it is a full entry of the CS for internal security. That is Professor Kithure Kindiki, even as he tries to tackle some of these particular issues that are actually plaguing the country. And of course, these are some of the things that maybe the government will have maybe to look into, even as they start this particular year, and be able to look at quite a number of things that are of major significance and are of major essence. Remember, we are just looking at quite a number of things that have actually been happening as far as the beginning of the year is concerned, and some of the issues that are very, very critical and what really needs to be done. You're still watching the Mid-Morning Pack, and today we are talking about Ruto's 100 days scorecard. Okay, some of the things that maybe the government has done, and what is it that maybe they are supposed to do? What are some of the other issues? What are some of the main points, or what are some of the main critical issues that maybe they are supposed to look into even as they begin this particular year? And of course, touching on the economy, that is what we've said, this is going to be a very, very major thing. And of course, Kagi, when you're talking about the economy, of course, we want to look at things like maybe what the government has done in terms of course, there is the issue of the removal of the subsidy.
Yes.
You remember the subsidy that was there, but the government said that that subsidy was not the best, and therefore they took the initiative to remove it, saying that the most important thing is to ensure that we have a long-term solution.
Yes.
So far, how do you think this one has actually achieved success?
Yes, I think every government has its own way of operations. If the Ruto's government sees it's wise to be able to scrap the subsidy and it works for Kenyans, I think it's quite in order. But now the challenge is, which many questions are being asked about the subsidy, because the president was saying yesterday that the government has saved quite billions of money, around quite a good money to be able to do some development. And people are questioning that. They have no problem with development, but they're asking, do we go for development and let people suffer because of hunger and such kind of things? So I think, which is the priority now? Do we go to do development and let people suffer because of hunger? Like yesterday we saw people are still suffering because of lack of food, you know? Because of drought, many animals are dying every day. Subsidy is all over the world, but should be done with a lot of caution, that it doesn't really affect the operations of the government. Number two, if it comes, it should come to give people a relief because of the stress they are going through because of maybe economic hardships or lack of food. Okay, so the government should strike a balance, okay, to check on the development and also to be able to check on the suffering of the people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because if we let it all out and people suffer, what's the benefit?
I think that is a very good way to look at it, and maybe when you come from the break, we'll be able to look at it in details and be able to see what is it that maybe that one is going to, or how is it going to be beneficial in terms of, because we also hear maybe quite a number of Kenyans saying that maybe they waited, they thought maybe by January things would have changed. So maybe that is also something that we really want to look in details. The other thing that maybe we can also point out is the establishment of the Hustler Fund. I know maybe you've interacted even over the Christmas with the people back there. They say mitaani. How have they benefited? Quite a number of them took the Hustler Fund.
I think the talk is not as much as expected. Like yesterday, I was trying to analyze the Hustlers Fund. Yes, there are billions of money which has gone to the pockets of, let's say, young people to help them. But the impact of the fund is not as expected, truth be told. Yeah, because when I was in the village during the Christmas holiday, I think I did not hear much about the fund. When you ask one, they are not giving their correct verdict of the fund. I think the reason is, according to them, the money is too little to be able to help them to propel their economic growth. Yes, 500 shillings is enough. You can be able to start a business. But also, not everybody is in that area whereby you can use 500 to buy tomatoes and sell them today. Tomorrow you add the stock like that. But I feel many people wanted more money because they are in the SMEs to be able to improve on their stock.
But of course, there is a second phase that is coming that will now be given to SACCOs, I think, groups, cooperatives, organizations like those ones. This is where
but has the first phase succeeded? You know, the problem is that some politicians, like in opposition, have already incited people not to repay back the money. Okay? And I was trying to ask some if the M-Pesa is fetching the Fuliza. And they said no. Yeah? So I feel the impact of the money is not yet felt. Or you are a beneficiary.
I sent an SMS. I've not yet gotten some feedback, but I'm still waiting. Yeah, I think that is also one of the things that maybe we'll be able to look at, or one of the things that maybe the government and even maybe the economic analysts will be able to focus and see what is it. When you go to the ground, are we really seeing lives being changed as a result of these? We're really going, do we have people who can actually tell us? Do we have, especially the youth, because these are the people who are actually being targeted in terms of the economic standards actually being raised. Can we really sample and say that we've seen quite a number, we've seen this particular number of youth, they took this amount of money, and today, this is how their lives are.
But Mangicho, if this money is going to be taken to SACCO, I feel it is going to scare the young people more than if it is not in the SACCO. Because the government's money has been in SACCO for many years, you know. Once upon a time I was in a group whereby we wanted to get some money from the SACCO, and we were very much scared, you see. So I feel they should look for another system away from taking the money to the SACCO, which is not going to scare young people more, you see. Because we still waiting for a much and more impact regarding to this, the Hustlers Fund. It's true the government has disbursed billions of money, but the question is the impact felt on the ground as it was expected? And it's very simple, taking that analysis from the young people. It's very simple. Random analysis.
Random analysis. Just going out to the streets there and be able to ask them and be able to find out from them. And of course, this also comes with what we know the Kenya Kwanza government, the platform on which it actually came to power, that is the campaign that they did of the bottom up. Okay? So we'll want to find out, and we'll want to actually look at it in terms of this particular model. Is it really going to work? What is it that is needed? Because people are waiting to find out how is this economy that is starting from the bottom up. Maybe this is something that maybe you've not been used to see, or we've not actually used in our country. So this time around, what is it that maybe we'll be able to see, and how is it really going to turn around the economy of the nation, even as we continue forward? I think that is something that is very, very major, and that is something that is very critical to actually look at in terms of analyzing how the government has actually performed and over the first 100 days, and maybe what will also be looked at even as we start, or even as we begin the year. And I think maybe one other thing that maybe I've also seen before we take a short break in a short while, the government also said it has plans to actually revive the Gulana Kulalu project.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very big project in the first term of the Jubilee government to be able to caution Kenyans against the challenges of food insecurity. It was a good project. I think it was out of research and case study done from Israel, because they use such kind of projects. And I wish it worked that time, you know, because if it worked that time, where we are today is not where we are supposed to be, because we would have now added more acreage of this Gulana Kulalu project. Like now they are using fewer acreage, and they continue to maybe 300, 500, 1,000. It's a big land.
Sure.
Though in the last regime, Uhuru's government wanted to hike some of the land to use for resettlement, which the president yesterday revoked, and leave the land purely for agriculture. It is a good project. And I think it was a pilot project to be able to help the country to look for more idle land to do agriculture. Because if Israel are successfully feeding its people without maybe a fertile land, how about us? We have a lot of land, we can do agriculture. So this project for Gulana Kulalu, if this time around, because the president, I think the president is the one who, when he was a VP, a deputy, it was very vibrant in seeing this project succeed.
Right.
It didn't. But I believe because now he is a president, his eyes are more focused to ensure that this project succeeds. And we are monitoring to ensure that this project really shows us that we can use the idle land to be able to feed us. We can stop the culture of importing maize, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a very good way to look at it. And of course, one of the major hurdles that this particular project had, and maybe that is also something that maybe most people want to find out, what is it that this particular government will do, is the whole issue of corruption.
Yes.
Okay, the whole issue of corruption, and maybe this is one of the major hurdles that this particular government will have to fight to ensure that some of these particular projects that are begun or established, they succeed. And of course, they'll be of major significance, and they'll actually go a long way in helping people.
Yeah,
okay?
because I was comparing this project with the project in Mwea, whereby people are complaining in Mwea that the project, the dam is complete to help them to farm their rice, but there has risen another bad management, whereby people, I think they are corrupting to be able to be given more water than the others. You know, some areas are not getting water, others are getting more water. So there's no equal distribution of water because of maybe mismanagement or corruption, right? As you're saying, if we are not careful on this project, yeah, and we weed out the cartels and the corrupt individuals, even some stakeholders, then it's not going to go anywhere.
Exactly. And we want to take a short break at this particular point. Remember, you are still watching the Mid-Morning Pack, your weekly show right here on MBCI TV. Today we are discussing, or we're looking at Ruto's 100 days of scorecard. Okay, and the question that you are asking you, what percentage do you give the government for the first 100 days in office? What percentage do you give the government for the first 100 days in office? We are coming back with plenty more after this particular short break.
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
Bridgewater Girls High School is located 10 kilometers from Nakuru City along Nakuru-Njoro Highway. Bridgewater Girls High School is a boarding girls secondary school. We aim at creating a broad and balanced curriculum for our students. We offer supportive and inspirational environments for young and inquiring minds to learn and grow with us. Our passion for learning means we achieve more than outstanding results. We strive to build confident and creative thinkers and aim at delivering an education system that is truly relevant to their future. Understanding the game of numbers to solve real-world problems is what we are best in. We encourage study of communication and languages. With professionals on board, we pride in training our students in art forms like dance, drama, painting, and much more. Our students are passionate about sports and athletics. Academics are our main achievements. Our Form 4 leavers join prestigious universities across the globe and graduate successfully as doctors, engineers, pilots, lawyers, and much more. Enroll your child today at Bridgewater Girls High School. For more information, call us on 0727 070076 or email us at bridgewaterschools@gmail.com.
It's a stunning tradition here at Sarova Woodlands Hotel and Spa to usher in the new year in style. What better way to culminate the incredible year than taking part in our wondrous mapped-out plan? An eve of Thanksgiving graced with an opulent laid-out dinner with variety Kenyan cuisines, the biggest beautiful fireworks display in Nakuru, and wonderful live band music accompanied by DJ mixes. Not forgetting the state-of-the-art conferencing facilities and luxurious accommodations that are still at your disposal this year. Celebrate your hopes and dreams for a prosperous 2023 together with us. Reach out to us today through 0709 166 000, or you can email us at woodlands@sarovahotel.com. Sarova Woodlands Hotel and Spa, refreshing African hospitality.
Kwenye ulimwengu wa sasa, taaluma za mikono zina umaarufu mwingi. Jiunge na Sensei Institute of Technology, tukupe ujuzi na uzoefu wa kushughulikia ulimwengu. Tunafunza taaluma kama plant operator, plant mechanics, kuendesha gari na trailer, kuweka CCTV na alarm, kuweka solar, kuweka stima, motor vehicle mechanics na electronics, teknolojia ya ujenzi wa mjengo, welding fabrication, ujenzi wa barabara na mabwawa, hospitality na taaluma nyinginezo. Kujiunga nasi unahitaji kitambulisho chako cha kitaifa na uanze safari yako mpya. Sensei College, my skills, my future.
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
Welcome back to the Mid-Morning Park right here on MBCI TV. Thank you so much for still having us today. This is the first show of the year, and we are looking at Ruto's 100 days scorecard. The question that you are asking you, what percentage do you give the government for the first 100 days in office? What percentage do you give the government for the first 100 days in office? You can give us your opinion. You can give us your feedback on our social media pages. Facebook, that is MBCI TV, and also on YouTube, that is MBCI TV Official. You can also give us on our SMS platform, that is 23814, 23814. And of course, in a short while, we'll also look at what is it that your comment is. And I think at this particular juncture, Kagi, we can welcome our guest, that is Dr. Peter Mbae. That is Dr. Peter Mbae. And there is something that I've already seen, Daktari has sent me here. Kagi, I think you can also look at it. Some of the fulfilled pledges in the Ruto, or by the Ruto administration in the first 100 days, okay? I can see 20 of them. I think we'll be able to dissect some of them and also be able to look what is it that they mean. Yeah, even as we continue. Karibu sana Dr. Peter Mbae, a governance consultant and also a leadership consultant.
Asante sana.
Yes.
Very good to see you. You're happy New Year, man.
Happy New Year.
And I wish to take this opportunity to first of all wish all those who are watching us,
Yes.
From here, abroad, everywhere else, a very, very happy New Year. And from the depth of my heart,
Yes.
I want to ask all of them to join me in first of all thanking God for life.
Sure.
It's not easy. But secondly, I wish to wish every one of them a very fruitful and productive 2023. And I pray that God's mercy, His favor, His divine ability to go with every one of us
Okay.
until the end of the year.
Sure.
And more so the protection of God to be with them. And I want to say, Happy New Year, may God be with us.
Wow.
We want to thank God.
Yeah.
It has not been easy. And Mogicho, here we are. We are saying, God, this is what you saved us from death, from COVID, from everything else. Many people lost their lives. Many people lost their lives through accidents,
Yeah.
through disease, through cancer, through everything. But we thank God. It's not that we did God anything better, but by His mercies we are here to pursue our destiny. So God help us. The reason why you have kept us, because there's a reason. I mean, many people passed on, right? The reason why we're here, God help us so that we can achieve that divine path and lead us into that way.
You're right.
May His face shine upon us.
Wow.
And give us peace.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Daktari, do you think this is the make or the break year for this particular government?
Now, first of all, I had you do some analysis. I was watching, I was watching. You have tried. But now, I'll tell you this. First of all, we thank God that we have a new government.
Yes.
For the next 5 years. One of the things everybody is thanking God for is what we went through, 2022. I mean, the whole drama. This is 100 years, also about 4 months of foundation. What I would call foundation. The government has laid some foundation. Let's be very clear about it. Structures of government are done. That's why today there's a meeting, from tomorrow, of top government structure. Now, what the president have done, and I'm talking this because we have done our own analysis as a governance center, right? Center for Governance and Conflict Prevention, where I head, I keep on saying, when I sit here, I've done protocols, I've done media and communication, because the biggest thing that is lacking in Kenya today is communication. People don't know. That's why you see so many stories, subsidies removed, help abolished. This is under information, misinformation, and disinformation. So what I know, the government has laid a standard. And I'm coming from a point that which will continue from where we stopped last year, is that did we pray God? Yes. There was an election? Yes. We all prayed God. God gave us the leader. You are the one who appoints kings. We prayed, and the king came. So our work primarily is to support that government, because Obama told us, anybody who wishes a government to fail and is part of that government, is part of that nation, you cannot wish the president or the government to fail, because you also failed as a nation. So we have to support and give criticism where it's necessary. And that's why we have so many so many organs giving criticism. So
Daktari, when you say the first 100 days is for putting foundation, so what is it that has not been done in the first 100 days?
I'm picking I'll give you an example. The president promised a few things that happened hours after he was inaugurated. One, the issue of Port of Mombasa. He did the issue of judges. He sworn in the judges. The issues of independence of the IG, the financial autonomy of Inspector General, right? The increase of judiciary fund is waiting for the supplementary budget to come in. All the issues about launching the trees issue, the issue of working party, the issues of Hustler Fund, all those issues, you can count them up to 20. The ones that we were able to pick up ourselves. Yes. So that's what has been done. Let's start from where what has been done, Mogichu. So what lie now, the focus is this. One is that we have laid a foundation. For example, I'll give an example of this issue of cost of living, right? Yes. Which is among the issues that people are talking about. Sure. The foundation was fine. The policy of this government is not to continue funding consumption. With the moment you continue funding, that is government money. The tax you are paying, it's going to consume for consumption. We are saying, can we fund production so that at the end of the day, we'll have sustainability? The president will be the president for the next 5 years, and God willing, maybe, because the constitution allows him another 5. So why does he want to use what I would call stopgap measures? We want to have something called sustainability. And from the word go, I want to say this. The kind of things people are talking about, subsidies and all that, and removal and all that, those were measures taken during COVID time to cushion people against the effects of COVID. Okay. Now, the question was, when you put a measure to cushion, is it supposed to be permanent? That's the question people are asking ourselves. Yes. And by the way, let me tell you, in another few months, yes, the government has done 100 days. I can tell you in another 100 days, by the time one financial year ends in June, you're going to see the changes that are going to be talked about. Yes, you ask a question, what are the highlights? One, we expect the meeting today is the first meeting, tomorrow or the other day, of the first government structure to come and say, wait, what were our promises? What were our pledges, right? Yes. To put them on one side. Okay. Then say, what have you achieved in 100 days? What are those foundational things have you done in the 100 days? Then the other thing is going to happen. They are going to consider supplementary budget. The supplementary budget is going to say, look, we promised this. This is what we have done. What do we need? The money now, because it's about the financing. They are going to switch the budget to make sure the priority areas that the president needs to do between now and the end of the financial year are taken care of. That's why the supplementary budget will be discussed in February in the National Assembly to reflect the minimum things. One of them, of course, what I expect to be discussed in a big way is the cost of living. For example, we come and say, how do we make sure that this, the issues about cost of living, for example, will not affect? There's the issue of the government is losing revenue. It's losing revenue by removing the duty from February to make sure there is food until the next season, until farmers harvest in August. That's number one. But number two, I had Kagi say, how to balance between subsidy and all that. Let me tell you, there are some steps you take, Mogicho, that for sure in future as a good father, they're going to bring returns. So yes, those are the priorities that I expect. There's a lot that has happened. There's a lot more is going to happen. The issue is looking at what is it can we do to make sure the economy is stable, people are okay, but sustainability. Look at what Kibaki did. The former president, let's say so in internal peace, he did something that was, he decided, I'm going to do highways, I'm going to spend infrastructure, I'm going to remove interest rates, I'm going to make sure people sign. And it paid off within a year. Let's say it's only 100 days, there's a lot of things happening, and that's where we come from. That's our perspective.
Wow. And Dr. I think that is a good point. However, maybe some of your critics would say that that was not what maybe the government had promised. Or maybe it was, or maybe there was maybe some miscommunication, or that you're also coming from the communication background, because most people thought that maybe by the first 100 days, they would have seen maybe their lives change in terms maybe of being able to meet their daily needs.
I had to mention that. You have said it very well, Monito. People thought this is government. And that's why presidents are given 5 years and another 5 years to lay down policies and programs for long-lasting intervention for the people. Now, I have been following clips. People saying, oh, they said within 100 days, Unga will come to 70. Who said? Who said? I have not seen that clip. Kagi, maybe in your records, you can bring it. Nobody said that within 100 days, Unga will come to 70. We said within 100 days, the president said he is going to put up measures to bring down the cost of living and the issue of Unga. Let's be very clear. Now, you've said it very well. What people need to see from where I sit, once a government comes into power, or any elected leader for that matter, from the MC, by the governor and all that, you begin looking at the efforts they are making towards the achieved the desirable goal. That's very important. Once you begin, and that's why even when people are employed, they are given a probation to find out whether they can match our expectations, right? Sure. So what is necessary here is to look at the steps done so far, the efforts done so far. Do they reflect? Okay. Do they reflect some? Do they reflect some positivity, some passion, some desire towards achieve a desirable goal? Yes. What I would want to tell Kenyans is this: from where we are coming from. within 100 days, this is what has been achieved. Every day we watch the president speak, and we follow him. We want to hear, okay, what are you saying? Is it part of what you said you are going to do? How are you doing it? Then, how does it, from what you are saying, how do we hope, how do we see it translating into a desirable goal?
Sure.
So, yes, what are we saying is that we are saying we are in a very, very nice place.
Yeah, because the kind of like you've said, and there is something here that you can actually see. The Ruto administration fulfilled pledges under 100 days, and of course, there is a pledge like the appointed pending court of appeal judges. There is operationalization of the judiciary fund. There is also the handed financial autonomy to the Inspector General of Police, allocated specific responsibilities to DP and primaries. Of course, all these are there. But as we said, the elephant in the room is the cost of the living. And maybe most of the Kenyans would say that maybe most of these 20 do not really translate to how someone's economic condition has actually been improved. Out of these 20,
one of the.
Can we really say that? Can you really highlight?
You said very well. Okay, you said very well.
Yes.
Can we talk about what he promised and what he has delivered? Let's be very specific.
Sure.
If you want to hang someone, hang them based on the facts and the truths. No, he promised. He had 10 major. We are coming there.
Yes.
One, appointment of pending court of appeal judges.
Yes.
I mean, it happened immediately, like the following day.
Exactly.
As you say, operationalization of the judiciary fund. Yes, the money has not come, but it's in the supplementary budget. So, of course, it had to come to the supplementary. Handed financial autonomy to the Inspector General, gave specific responsibilities to the DP and the Prime Cabinet Secretary. Handed the port operations back to Mombasa. Launch of the working party. Those are things that are achieved. Established key government structures so far. CSs are in place. PSs are in place. You know, the cars and the chairman of the boards, members of the board, ambassadors, in the next 90 days. I'm privy to the information, all that will be sorted out, right? Now, appointed and mark 50% of women to cabinet and cabinet level portfolios. Mark my words. It is cabinet and cabinet level portfolios. People are giving us too much English. We know English, you know. It was cabinet and cabinet portfolio. Today, the head, the women advisor, to the president sits in cabinet with all the powers. Exactly. Actually, they sit in cabinet to make sure they mainstream women issues in all the departments. So that one is done. Launch the hazardous fund and for information. Let's clear this matter of hazardous fund once and for all. Right? Before we proceed. One. No. I heard what you are saying. I heard it very well. I was lucky today. I gave you. As I said, you had tried doing pre. That was what you are doing is pre-analysis.
Yes.
Over 20 billion shillings have been absorbed.
Okay.
Okay. For record.
20 billion.
20 billion
have
plus.
Been absorbed
that is
by Kenyans.
That is towards the end of the year.
That is what Kenyans.
Right now it will be heading to 25 billion. Right?
Towards the end of the year,
it was
20 billion was borrowed by Kenyans.
Yes, borrowed. 50% was returned already. 60%.
Okay.
Now, savings are going to at least about a billion savings. Now, look here. These are people. Can we give them space to do what they want to do? I mean, there are people who are very happy. Can we give them space? Now, they could be carry type. No, he said, oh, it's so little. In February, one supplementary budget passes.
Yes.
Now the carry type will come. Where now you can borrow more money. Remember the risk, let's be fair. When the money is you and yourself and your phone, the risks are higher. So we are saying, excuse me, can you exercise, play around with that money up to 50,000? Remember the issue of government is giving more money. Let me answer that issue of 500. The government is slowly increasing the money.
Yes.
Remember, people asking where the money came from. This is government. So more money has to be appropriated by parliament so that more money is added. As you play around with these 500, 1,000 to 10,000, money will be added as depending on your ability to repay and your discipline. Okay. Personally, until 50,000. However, in February, people will come begin in groups. You know, there's safety in groups. That's why SACCOs are able to give you money because you are guaranteed, right? It is going to move on like that, up to 100 million. That is the ultimate. Of course, like you said, if you are in groups and all that, you can get now 1 million up to 10 million. But if your SACCO is registered with SASLA, SASRA is the organization that controls SACCOs.
Yes.
Now we know you are very safe, up to 100 million. That is a procedure, and please, the people who are able to repay that money and borrow.
But Daktari, the question is, and that is something that people will ask, even when we walk out of this particular studio, can we go and identify someone in the street, someone in our road, someone there back in our villages, someone back there in our estates, who can actually say, yes, this is my life. This is what I took from the Hustler Fund. Look at me now. Daktari.
Kagi, we have been watching news. And by the way, first of all, I will say this. You are a journalist, right? That is your work. Go and look for those people. Because our government says
could it
20 billion has
could it
been
be
borrowed.
possible that we've done and we've not gotten them?
No, 20 billion has been borrowed.
Yes.
20 billion, right? You go look for those people.
Does it
From where I sit, I've had like 3 or 4 cases where somebody say, I used the 500 to buy eggs, a tray of eggs. I bought the eggs, I sold them, and they got 1,000. And they move like that. Please, let's understand one thing, and this is very important. There is a day, for me, 100 shillings used to be a very big deal. When I was in college, it was a big deal. There are so many people who are at that level. That is their level. Let us pray for them and bless them. May they prosper in that level. Let us wait for our level. That is what is disturbing. That is what is disturbing our people.
Because one of the other critics or criticism has been that, of course, the main problem was not actually the money that maybe most Kenyans don't have, but the environment, the infrastructure that needs to be put into place to ensure that someone who wants to do some of these businesses can actually do.
I don't understand the first you're talking about, because we said the issue about Hustler Fund is not for lazy people. It's not for people doing nothing, definitely. It's for somebody with a hustle. Mark my words. You only qualify for the Hustlers Fund if you have hustle. If you really, a hustle is what? An idea of, for example, selling eggs, of buying mangoes. There are so many people. Let me tell you, we have millions of people. Adults today in Kenya, about that a million. Adults, 18 and above. Those are people who are supposed to be renting houses. They're supposed to be doing their own stuff. They don't live in their mother's houses. They have to start somewhere. When I grew up in this town, and I'm happy always for Nakuru, because this is where I was born. Yes. This is where I've worked for 10 years in both the executive and the county assembly. This is where I have been all my years and grew up and schooled. There's a day 100 shillings for me was a big deal. If that thing came when I was there, and there's so many young people right now, our brothers and sisters, who need that 100 shillings? 500 is a big issue. And they will do something and repay and get something. Please, if your intention is to grow from somewhere, this is your fund. If your intention was to go round and joke around and play around with money, and I'm telling you, I'm advising the Ozimio people, don't spoil Kenyans. You are billionaires. You are telling people not to pay. You are messing their lives. You are a billionaire, right? You can afford a cup of tea for 1,000 shillings. But finally, me will tell them this. Government is clever than them.
Yes.
The young people are being told not to pay. They will pay finally. Because that's why there's no office told to go and pay. M-Pesa and Airtel, we know where to catch you. And you pay the money. So finally, at the end of the day, let us build ourselves. Now, there's something you asked me. This is important. Can you before you come in? Now, you said about direct impact. 4.5 million Kenyans were removed from blacklist. Now, if you are removed from blacklisting, what else can you do? Because most people couldn't proceed with life because they were stuck at CRB. That one was removed out of the actions of the government. And of course, so that they can finish.
But some of them are still saying they're getting these messages from CRB.
Oh,
no. It's just on paper.
It is a policy. Now, there's what we call specific issues. Deal now with that. Because generally, the policy came out and many people have been removed. Look at the positive side also. Many people have been removed. Yes. And if you want to know, by the way, just go to the eCitizen account and send. You'll be told it's cleared. That one happens. Now, for me, I remember I cleared my loan, for example, my help loan long time ago. But recently, when I was going to, they still told me there's some 67 shillings remaining. 67, I think 67 or 8 shillings. And you see, those are normal issues. You just call and you'll be sorted. But I can tell you over 4.5 million have been removed. There's so many things that are going to happen. The Kazi General that people were climbing around, that is funding consumption. So what the president is saying, we want to fund production, where instead of going with a slasher like this for 2 hours and you get paid, there's no work that can be paid. We want to commit you to plant a tree. Yes. Then you'll be paid for work done, which is going to help in forest cover and the issue of the climate change. Yes. And the issue of the 2/3 Mogicho quickly. The president said, remember the former president, he was given by CJ to dissolve because of 2/3. President has to take responsibility. And that's why he said, no, it will not die in my hands. Parliament, this is my proposal. Can you work on it? Yeah. That is what we need by being decisive. The other time, the former president and Raila Odinga, they established some BBI that went across the whole country for 3 years, spent billions. The president here is saying, I am responsible. I want to be in charge. I don't want to hide under some groups to go around for 4 years. I want to say, this is my proposal. 1, official leader of opposition. 2, cabinet secretaries to appear in parliament. You know, that is what you call being proactive. You are not waiting to say, okay, I want this, but can I ask MP from Western to go speak in a barrio, to go talk about it? No, yes. I'm the president. I'm proposing the following. 2/3, this is how you're going to achieve it. Officially the opposition, this is how you're going to achieve it. Do you know the president did something so interesting until everybody began to question, how can the president be the one creating? But he promised in the manifesto that I want a strong opposition. How? Make it, and you, me and you know, the president Kibaki, before he became president, he sharpened his prowess when he was official leader of opposition. But by the time they were doing 2010 constitution, do you know what happened? The MPs went and said, once if you create this position, we are creating it for Raila Odinga. So let us scrap it. It is back.
But before Kagi comes in, I think, Daktari, some people will actually disagree with you because there are those who think that, yes, the president has actually promised, or it's actually the president's desire to have a strong opposition. But there are people who think the same government is actually taking members of the opposition and actually owing them to come to the government, speaking from two sides of the mouth.
Now, that is an observation that needs to be analyzed. One, there is no problem at all. There is no harm.
What is the difference between being in opposition and working with the government?
The president is a party leader of UDA and leads the Kenya Kwanza coalition. There is nothing wrong as a president. You know, I saw some headlines. You know, the president wants now to go back to make Kenya a one-party rule and all that. The president has all the freedom to marshal people towards his party. Mark my words, that is his party. He's a party leader. And the other people have a right to marshal people towards their party. Okay? For example, in 427, for example. Now, let's come back here. What the president is saying, I am the president. Beyond being the party leader, I'm the president of the Republic of Kenya. And I have an agenda. And I want to work with all the elected leaders, purely from development perspective. When it comes to politics, let everybody go to their party. That only one will be very clear. Let me tell you, look here, is it possible for you to say...
So it is possible to mix development and politics?
Mixing how? No, it's not possible.
Yeah.
Let me say that again.
When the president maybe is saying that I will work maybe with even members of those who are perceived to be in the opposition, does it mean just working but leaving politics outside it?
I can tell you, and that's a very good question. I've studied political economy and politics of development. The moment you mix, it's going to be a problem. Now, let me tell you how it's going to work. The president is the president of the Republic of Kenya, right? He's a CEO who has a mandate to develop every part of the country. He must do it through elected leaders. And that is a plus for Ruto. Because any other president would have now done it the other way, try to favor all the presidents that didn't vote for him. Now, what Mogicho then we are saying, towards 2027, where now there will be party politics, everybody is free to join their party that the party wants. If the president will have managed to convince more people than the ones he had to join him, that is a plus. There's no problem with that. Because nobody is stopping the other parties to also look for people, for members of UDA and Kenya Kwanza and work with them. Nobody is preventing them. This is a free world. Let us not mix these issues. When you saw the president is rooting to have one-party system, how can he be rooting to have one-party system, Kagi? At the same time, he is actually proposing an official leader of opposition with a shadow cabinet given money by the state, funded by the state. How is it possible?
I think, Daktari, there are three issues I want you to clarify.
Nobody has been doing
Number one, the issue of constitution. And we are all aware that the person who led the anti-BBI was the president himself. The case went to the courts because there was the issue of the former president, Uhuru Kenyatta, is the one who was the proposer of the changes in the constitution. And the president, the current president, and his brigade were very categorical that the president cannot at all initiate changes in the constitution. Okay. The question still remains, if the president by then knew that the changes that you want to have in the constitution could be done through parliament. When he was the DP, he would have done at that time, right? Then he waited, then there was a talk, blah, 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 BBI process, and then the case in the court, and the Supreme Court and the High Court and the Court of Appeal ruled the president cannot initiate the constitutional changes. Today, the president himself penned constitutional changes through parliament.
Yes.
He wrote by himself that I propose the following changes.
Yes.
Number one,
Yes.
the office of the leader of opposition, the CSS to be able to come to parliament to answer questions and other things. So I feel he is not a bit genuine. He is double speaking in terms of the legal changes. Daktari, number two, the issue of the opposition.
Yes.
Yes, it's good to have a strong opposition, and it's good for the healthy of a nation. But my question is, as Mangicho has said, the government also should take a position, a firm position in terms of strengthening the opposition. I don't know. The president is saying that we want to strengthen the opposition. Every day he mentioned that. We need a strong opposition to counter-check us. His DP, on the other hand, most of the time, when the opposition comes out to challenge the government, saying, you guys, you need to go slow. Give us time to work. The mess that you did, give us time to work. If we need the opposition to be able to counter-check the government, then the government should not maybe challenge them to shut their mouth. So they are not, there is a little bit of lack of genuineness in terms of creating the office of opposition. The last thing, Daktari, I want you to clarify, the issue of Hustlers Fund and the issue of SACCO. I am back there. Because in the minds of Kenyans, when the Hustlers Fund was being popularized during campaign, me one of them, because I was following that, was that Hustlers Fund was coming in a more relaxed manner, in a more lenient manner, to help Kenyans to get money to improve on their lives, especially in terms of business. But now, if you go to our phones today, Mangicho, you'll find there are a lot of institutions that are lending money online, 500 to 50,000. According to my own understanding, it's the same as the Hustlers Fund. It's the same formula they are using, but they are giving it a more beautiful name.
They should have been disbanded.
Yeah, you know, if you go to this phone, Mangicho, you can borrow 500, the way we are borrowing from the Hustlers Fund. It has an interest, okay? Number two, if you take this money to the SACCO, the SACCOs have been there for many years. And the problems people go through when they borrow money in SACCOs, especially for young people, is the same problems we are transferring them. Then Hustlers Fund is going to fall in the same basket with other SACCOs. People, Daktari, are looking for more lenient fund to be able to help them to move quickly to improving their lives.
It was not supposed actually to have interest?
Yes.
No,
And the clip is there, or it was not there?
No. There's nothing like that. There's nothing like that. Munguja, I want to quickly, very fast, answer this.
Yes.
One, it is true. The court judged that the president cannot initiate, like what happened. Because the president started with Raila Odinga, they started BBI.
Yes.
And they started it, and it was done by the president. In this case, I want to give a very quick distinction. The president, as an individual, he as a president, he is proposing to parliament. So it is parliament driven. I want to answer that very quickly. It is, he said, this is what I think as a president. But it is, he is sending everything to parliament. So what did the speaker did of the National Assembly? He gave that task to the committees. It will be a report of the committees of the House. It is the same way, Kagi, you would have said.
That is different from what,
what
the former president did.
Yes, it's very different. Because it was not parliament driven. They started it. Okay. Members went around. They corrected.
But proposals are the same.
Hold on. I'm coming to proposals, Kagi. They went around. Listen, they went around. It went to it found us at the county assemblies. It went to the National Assembly.
Yes.
It was a process that already was initiated. Now, I want to give a decision. That is important because I've been asked this question many times. From you know, our work is to look at the...
But the problem is not where you are taking it. The problem is you beginning it. I mean, it should not even have...
Wonderful.
It should not even been, it should not have been heard
the
that
president,
he has anything to
let
do
me
with
give you
it.
an example. To that, for example. What happened? The former CJ petitioned the president to dissolve parliament.
Yeah.
So the president has a responsibility to do something about this nation. And this is what I want to say, and this should be very clear now to our viewers. For the last time, so that it doesn't come up in the other show. Mugicho,
Yes.
the president is an individual from where he sits. He only recommended. Do you know what he said? It is up to you. If you find that my humble proposals can meet the bill, it is you. Now, what happened? Today, though those proposals are within the relevant committees of the House, it is the committee of the report of the committees that will be tabled in the House. It will be adopted, and now it will be the ownership. It will be a parliament-driven process. I want to make that clear.
Daktari, that is a, you see, it's good to be genuine, Daktari. Mangicho,
Yes.
you know, when you look at the way the Ruto planned his parliament, whether it is Senate, National Assembly, everywhere, is a well-orchestrated system. listen. To be able
No.
to fulfill, when you say he proposed, that is not it's not an accident, by accident. He is proposing this.
Yes, he proposed.
Yes, but not by accident. Look at the parliament. The Speaker of the National Assembly, Wetangula.
So in other words, what you're saying is that there is no impossibility.
Whether he is proposing is something that is well orchestrated to the end.
Okay, that's important, but let me say this quickly. Yeah? Look, I don't know why the president is so organized. People even have a problem with being organized. So surely, I mean, people went. There were two factions, major ones. The president won the elections, and there were people, I mean, who are with him. Now, if the president organizes parliament and senate for people to win seats, and he puts majority leader, chairman of budget, you know, whip, you know, speaker here, speaker there, he is organizing himself. So I don't see there's any problem with being organized. The president organized his troops in both houses to be able, number one, to deliver his mandate. Because also, you can be a president out there. You don't have the numbers in parliament, and you don't have, your agenda in the house will be frustrated. So we should be giving him that is good president. You are able to think that once you become president in the executive, you need people to work with in the, remember, there is no harm. What is important is that you don't just pass laws for the sake of it without scrutinizing as an MP, because you have been elected also to be able to go and represent people. So long as there's no evil being done, Kagi, so long as there's no evil, the president and the speaker in that relationship is being done, there's no problem with the president making sure he has numbers in the houses to be able to deliver his program. Otherwise, he's been frustrated day in and day out. We should be thanking God for that, because otherwise, when we see, imagine you'd see president sending things in parliament and they're all rejected. Maliciously, I said maliciously. Because if there's something wrong, consultation happens. Said, Mr. President, this one may not work. Even if we want to support you, can you change that?
Does it therefore mean that any proposal, any idea that the president comes with is as good to go?
And that's why I'm telling you, no. There is what we call, these people have their own brains, right? And there is structures, studying orders, the laws to follow, right? So anything that does not fit the bill,
but how practical is it, Dr. How feasible is it that a parliament, which the president controls, would actually reject some of the proposals? And I think that is what maybe Kagi is doing.
I'm coming there now. The principle of internalization.
Even some people have actually been complaining. Does the parliament really have a stand of some independence?
Good. From where we sit, from a governance perspective, when you talk about legislature here, executive and judiciary, what we say, these organs are independent. They are supposed to work because these organs oversight each other, right? However, and I want to answer that question, if the president sends something to parliament, yes, a parliament he controls, the spirit of cooperation, consultation, thereof dictates that once you find something which does not fit the bill, in that spirit, without going to barrios and churches, and public rallies, you'll go and consult to say, Mr. President, we wish to do this, but it offends some standing orders, it offends some things. It doesn't sit well with my people in Budarangi, in Kakamega. Can we change it in that spirit of consultation before we move on? It is changed. You don't see that because Kenyans love violence, media conferences, shouting, I was not consulted. Things are being done silently. Is there a problem with that? That is a new Kenya we are seeing. That's a new government you're talking about. Yes. Because Dr. Ruto is not just a politician. He's a called politician. He's a Christian, but he's also a scientist. He knows how to do things from one way to another using empirical science. And he has all these things, and he's sharp, he's intelligent, and he knows how to do things. So when we have such a president, let us celebrate and we thank God. Why were we praying for elections and saying, God, give us a king with after your own heart? Can we now say, these are things you have to thank God for? So Kagi, what you're saying, you said well, they are the same. That is important. Let me tell you what happened. Let us not put together the issue of BBI with what is happening now. BBI was another story altogether where everything was mixed in one pot. So you didn't know whether it is good or bad. You have vegetables, you have the egg of a goat, you have fish, you have everything in one pot. So when you look at that thing, you didn't know what is what. That is the biggest problem with the BBI. Yes. If we start talking about the goods and evils of BBI, so it mixes everything as a sweetener. Oh, 70 constituencies. So Mount Kenya, you will get 70 constituencies. Who told you it is your work to do 70 constituencies? That is the work of IBC. You put so many sweeteners, everything else, but before you realize it, you don't know whether this is a meal of lunch or breakfast or supper because it's mixed up, fish and all that. You can see legs and all that. So what they are saying, please, the issue of BBI died, rest in peace, and don't go back to cry and moan about BBI. We are now talking about, Kagi, what is it we need? Okay? Going forward as Kenyans, we are now sober. Okay? And we are saying, please, the president has only put 3 proposals, right? The issue of the CS is coming back to whatever. The issue of the GAF and all that, and CDF in the constitution, and for official opposition leader and all that. Come on, somebody else, bring yours. Okay. Let's all have like 10 issues that we need to change in the constitution. Then let's agree. That is important. Must all these things go to the referendum? There are things under the constitution that needs just a majority of MPs to just pass administrative things. Things like having CSs to come to parliament is just a standing order. You just amend the standing order. You don't need, and that's why what the president was saying. You mentioned about the president opposing the BBI. He was saying, let's not lie to Kenyans that for us to get some of these things, we must go to the referendum. Yes, we need changes to the constitution, but some changes can be done using standing orders, some using a vote in Senate and Parliament. Before we now say, what is it that must need a referendum? We refine issues. What the president have done in these 20 issues here for the last 90 days, Mungicho, most of them are administrative. Sure. You didn't need even a law, a parliament, an act of parliament to return the port to Mombasa. It's a decree, it's a policy issue, it's an executive order. Look at the working party reforms. Yes. Look at the judiciary fund is there in the constitution. It just needed to be actualized. Look at the issue of independence of IG. Look at the issue of swearing in judges and all those kind of things. So there are many things that can be done. What the president was saying is that there are so many things were in the BBI that could have been done without necessarily subjecting Kenyans to a referendum. But the referendum and the BBI was meant to bring together some political factions so that now they can block, so that you can move around the whole country and cause some political storm against the NDP. That is why the president now defied and opposed the BBI. But yes, come back here, Mugicho. Let's look at the issues. What can be passed there? What can be passed there? Actually, the president said very well. Look at these issues I've sent to you. Look at the ones that can be done without necessarily subjecting Kenyans to a long-run referendum. Political issue, look at them. So that was his advice. Look at those things. Whatever can be done, let it be done. And I can tell you, 90% of what the president sent to parliament can be done without a referendum.
Good. I think you've exhausted
maybe in summary, the issue of the SACCOs and hustlers fund.
Yeah. Quickly. Now, the issue of opposition.
What was the case with the hustler fund?
I got it very right here. I got it. He has been very particular. I think there are people even now who are calling him and texting him about the hustler fund. Quickly before I come to the hustler fund, the issue of opposition is very simple. Nobody is the word is this. Nobody is muzzling the opposition. Let them do what they want. Actually, there's a bill coming, where they're going to be given all the facilitation to be able to be an official position. What you are saying, please, can you criticize government in a civil, structured way that makes sense? That's all what the president and the deputy president is saying. So don't, for example, jumping out, going to do maandamano. Those are unorthodox means that used to be by Anyang' Nyong'o and Orengo in 1992. Okay, this is 21st century. Even the young people you are telling now, they are busy. They want to see solutions on technology. So use a better way of overseeing government without necessarily doing unorthodox means. I'll finish with the Hazard Fund.
So do you agree with Kagi that it is not right for the deputy president, whenever they see or whenever maybe the opposition raises issues, is very quick to like trying maybe to bring the opposition down?
The issue of bringing opposition down does not arise. It's not true. I have not seen it in my work in governance. I've not seen it anywhere in the present government. What the deputy president was saying is that, okay, fine, yes, we have listened to you, but take us through. We are getting there. We understand. We have heard you. It was not meant to be in a bad way. It was not meant to be in a bad way. Now, this issue of you said that Hazard Fund was supposed to be relaxed and lenient. Okay, let me tell you how it is relaxed and lenient. Today, the offers you have, Kagi is loved by these people. People sending him messages.
Yes.
The only one point, because it's important so that we don't lose the point. The interest that you are charged is between 7 to 8% per day or per week. Hazard Fund is charging 0.02% per day. 0.02. If you take X amount, by the time you pay 500 shillings, is only 20 shillings. By the time you pay 20 shillings, it's only, if you take the time you're going to be taking 10,000, and let me go because a bigger figure, 100,000. You're going to pay after 1 year only 80,000 shillings. The whole year. No additional interest, no nothing. That is translated to 0.02% per day. You can never get that interest anywhere else. And that is the beauty of Hazard Fund. This is not a money-making thing. There's no, cost of whatever, hiring, renting offices, paying staff. It is just pure to give you, to help you. That is the lowest you can ever get. And they want actually so that you don't lose it to get there. Now, circles, we are not saying circles. We are saying there are young people who have organized themselves to a circle. And I'll give you an example. Where I have served for many years in Kabazi, I registered in 2018 a circle for young people, 100 young people, border riders within Kabazi Center right now. And they began, giving, like, every week they would meet 200 shillings each, 300 each. Right now they have 5 million shillings. Now, those young people, they know what they want to do with money. Okay. If they get a loan, they want to build houses for themselves where they can live, because right now they rent houses. And now they want to put a petrol station there where all the border riders can be their own, and a car wash for the border riders. They know what to do with the money. We are not giving the traditional. For the traditional circles, they are free to borrow the Hazard Fund and lend out the way they do. As we give them, the Hazard Fund will be given to them at the lowest rate, 0.08 or 8% per year. They will lend out the way they do normally at a good rate. So the whole thing is about empowerment. Empowerment can give from bottom, from down. Let's talk about the people who are up there, then you go up. Because there are people who, today, if they need 100,000 or even $1 million, they just go to the bank, they have title deeds, they have logbooks. Others don't have. So I think I want to settle that issue there. Okay. It is for the encouragement here is, like those young men I'm talking about, for them, maybe they can take the 500 shillings to do their own business, right? But if they want to grow, put up businesses as a circle, it's registered, by the way. They can go now borrow like 500,000 or $1 million, right? Put up an investment and they begin paying. That is because they will not be troubled with interest. That is the beauty. There are people today, yes, you take the money, but the interest, you hear in banks, sometimes you took 1 million, you'll be up to us to pay interest of 3 million, interest alone, after 10 years. What we are saying is that this is going to be possible under this kind of infrastructure. That's very, very, very well. Remember, you're still watching the Mid-Morning Pack. I want us to come to our last area of discussion, and that is the cabinet meeting that is going to kick off tomorrow.
And I think Dr. will also contribute on this because when you're talking about this particular cabinet that was formed, what is your assessment of this particular cabinet in terms of how ready they are to actually undertake their duties, perform their tasks? We still also have those who are criticizing some of the cabinet secretaries. They think that they are not up to task. They think that maybe they are not competitive as they would have been expected to be. We've also had in the few months, maybe 2 months, some of these cabinet secretaries contradicting one another. One saying this particular issue, the other one saying a different particular issue on the same particular matter. How do you think they are? How do you think they are ready as a cabinet to actually help the president to actually be able to meet the agenda of the Kenya Kwanza government?
Yeah, it's important. One, I would want to say that once we elected President Ruto as a president, we gave him the mandate. It's normally a social contract, where because all of you cannot be president, you give up your rights and everything to one person. It's a social contract between the people and the president. We give him the mandate to do what he can do. And then we begin checking what he has done. So number one, we should have full confidence in the kind of people he has picked to help him to deliver. Because we give our powers, or rather we give out our rights to him as a president to be able to move to be as a team leader, to be in the steering wheel. So, and that applies, I will say this today, that applies to governors and everybody. If somebody thinks, I'm the governor, you have given these people, allow them the kind of people he chose, or they chose, or he chose to work with. Then you can ask questions later. That's a summary statement.
So you're giving the entire cabinet a clean bill of health.
That is a choice of the president. We agree with all the.
But of course, Dr. we've been able to see them. Okay, we've been able to see them for the past 2 months. Some of them we've not even seen anything.
Can I tell you something today from where I sit? It's too early to begin gauging or
100 days too early again for the cabinet.
Now, you know, what I'm saying. Let me tell you, moving out and giving a press conference. No. I'm saying
we've had people saying there are those who have actually been mentioned. They're not actually going to finish the first 5 years.
Now that is highly speculative. We cannot begin speculating on a national TV. That is highly speculative. What we are saying, number one, let me say this. It's not exactly true that because a CS has not been seen on TV, that is not active. That's not true. Let's go to everybody have a personality. There's somebody who wishes to communicate. For example, we must be seen in Ituri because of maize. Maybe we see Moses Kuria because of trade, international trade. We see Kipchumba Murkomen because of roads. There are some dockets that somebody is working on something.
I think every docket we need to see someone.
That is a mistake we are doing. One of the parameters of the performance of a CS is not visibility. No. It's not even visibility. It's not appearance on a press conference.
As you continue.
Can we agree on that? Let's agree.
You've picked some posts.
So I want to start again for the purpose of record. And these things we are saying, we want to talk something which we can be talking in December. One, we support. Secondly, let us give them time to begin implementing.
But shouldn't we be knowing what they are doing? Should we be put in the cold?
I'm coming to this point. Number one, Mogicho, there's something called government communication.
Right.
And for the sake of our viewers, we talk about government communication. Of course, we talk about corporate communication in corporate organizations. Of course, we talk about political communication, where we are communicating to the politically for the benefit of the voters. Now, what you are talking about is government communication. And actually, I was going to say one of the things we expect from Nanyuki is one. It is the first time the CSs are meeting together with the PSs as one government, and the advisors and the president and the deputy. That is very important. Because people have been all over the place. The president has been assembling his government. Two things will happen is that the president is expected to issue now to the people who are going to work his vision clearly. Spell it very clearly there and say exactly what I intend to achieve. Say this is what we have done, the foundation you have done for the last 100 days, but this is what we must do. Break the 5-year plan into annual plans, and now break it to the next 100 days. I can tell you that for the next 1 quarter up to March, then up to June. because there's the end of the financial year and government programs go by financial years. Number two, the other thing he expected to do is talk about collective responsibility.
Okay.
Whereby we expect to hear one voice from government. Wherever you go and whichever docket, we hear one message. But finally, government communication. One of the biggest problems that governments in the whole world face, and that is important, is how to communicate. Sometimes it's normally very easy to communicate a lot because there were like 10 rallies during campaigns. But sometimes you are in government. So what now we hope to see is a lot of now what you are saying. Yes, we have not done this, but this is what we intend to do in the next 100 days. A lot of communication right now has been left purely to the president, if you have seen, and the deputy president. But I think from this meeting, we are going to have a lot of departmental, communication about what is what we are doing about lands and housing, right? This is what we are doing about livestock. This is what we are doing about the other issue about ICT, the plans of specific department. It was not going to be very much possible earlier because remember, the PSs were supposed to come in and break down the programs were not at work. But now that they are there, they're going to see a lot of government communication, which is very, very important.
Yes, but Daktari, I want to make an observation here.
Yes.
And you have said very clearly that for the last 3 months, the president and the deputy are the ones who have been communicating. I don't know whether you are going to agree with it or not, but my observation, the way the president is operating, which I feel is not going to change much, is that he is, which is okay, he is over-domineering in the running of the government, whereby he is denying those high-ranking officers in the government an opportunity to be able to, maybe to speak, to say, oh, blah, blah, blah. For example, the way he is operating right now is more likely the way Mo used to operate in his government, whereby the president speaks more, the ministers speak less. And you come to the Kibaki's government, immediately the ministers were appointed. They took their responsibilities day one. Because ministers know their job. The PSs know their job. They have been sworn in. What are they waiting for? They know what the government, that's why they were appointed, because they know what the government needs to do. So I feel he's denying his officers opportunity to come out very well and boldly.
Now that is a good observation, but I want to suggest this.
Or maybe it's a style of operation.
Surely. The president is a CEO.
Yes.
He is a chief government spokesman. If you get what I'm saying, like he is the face of this republic. Now, you cannot muzzle or you cannot say the president is over speaking or over giving information. Okay. That is his work. He has to keep on hammering wherever. However, at no point, and I can tell you this, at no point has the president told any minister not to talk. Any PS not to do what they're supposed to do. So if the minister is not talking or is not giving as much information as you would want, ask the minister. That's why every minister, I think they're on performance contracts or something. You cannot, let's be very clear. I like that the president has everything at his fingertips. When this issue of fake things was going round about, the government has increased electricity, he had to come out and calm the nation and say, excuse me. You see, people have...
And why was the ECS for energy?
No, I'm just saying this. Let's go. I say, whereas the president has every right, as a chief government spokesman, to talk about these things. He has not refused anybody to go issue statements and speak. I think it's good to leave it there because we want to be very fair to everyone, right? He has not told everybody. So listen. So if a CS is not able to do what he's supposed to do, he is under performance contract. But what I'm saying, you cannot like now begin saying, we want to gauge the CS for this, what have you done so far? We are saying it's the first time government is meeting together. So we hope from now, we are going to see a lot of government information on all factors. Okay. But I can tell you that people have not seen the last of the president. He has to engage, that is him. His personal style is he has to go on Sunday. Yes. He has done like only 5 counties or 6. He has another 40 to go. So every Sunday he's going there, and every after the church has finished. People are saying that there's confusion. There's no confusion. The church goes, we thank God for the election in that county, and then he must give a few government policies. That's not over speaking. That is just
talking about
just communicating issues here and there. But I think it's agreeable. Every minister has a right to talk, and I like to give information on his docket.
Yes.
But that does not mean the president cannot talk.
Do you foresee maybe some of the cabinet secretaries being called to order, maybe because of the way they've conducted themselves the last like 2 months?
What I know is that the president one day, he was very particular about one CS saying this thing, and you want to correct him in public. Now that is a very bad picture. It's a very bad picture to the president and the presidency. So he said, if you have an issue, you know what to do. You can, I mean, if you feel like an CS is overstepping his mandate into a territory, there's a way you can talk internally without literally going and calling the press to begin showing the government is not talking to
and some people are concerned what you're saying, that there is some rift between the deputy president and the prime cabinet secretary.
And I'm coming there. And
you've heard of that?
Yes, I have heard of that. And as I say that, there's something you mentioned, that there's rumor mongering, rumors in social places, and some CSS will not finish the term. Now listen, why is it that Kenyans love trouble? I don't know. Me, I never understood. I think everybody wants to see something burning. You know, everybody wants actually to speculate. I can tell you.
They don't know where there is smoke.
But let me
or
see.
there is no any smoke.
The president appointed, I'll go back again. The president picked those men and women to help him deliver his vision.
Okay.
He's the one who knows who is delivering and who is not. And by when he will know when they are not or are delivering. Let's leave it to him. He's in charge. Let's not begin poking. Oh, by the president, so and so is not working. Can we remove him? Now who are you to begin saying how to remove a CS? Yes. That is the one. Now, the what you call, did you call it a lift or a problem or what again? You know, I will say this about this issue. The deputy president is actually part of the presidency, right?
Yeah.
Let us not talk about the DP so casually, because you are hurting the institution of the presidency. Let's talk this kind of cheap talks. You cannot pit a deputy president with a governor. Now how? This is a second in command. A governor is just a governor with his mandate. So the issue of putting fuel, fuel and all that, now look here, some MPs now, they should be busy working on the CDF and the bursaries in Western. Now, what do they know about the deputy president, who is part of the presidency, that is the president, and the governor of Nairobi? What do they know? Why do they want to reduce Sakaja to a Westerner? Why do they want to reduce Sakaja to a Luya? The people who voted for Sakaja, some of them, they even don't know where they came from. Honestly, they just knew Sakaja. You know, Sakaja does not show you. Kenyans, when you ask a name, you want to find where is it a coastal name or that. Nobody knows. Now, they are reducing Sakaja. The people who are throwing words at deputy president, they are actually hurting the president. And the president is on record. He said, I'll never allow my deputy president to be frustrated. He said that. So what are we talking about? Can we leave leaders to sort their issues?
So there is no bad blood.
Look here. Of course, there has been creeps, creeps between them, here and there. And the president, I can tell you from where I sit,
and does it have anything
he wouldn't want to encourage these kind of things because it's hurting Kenya Kwanza. Remember, the president is on Kenya Kwanza ticket, the deputy president, Sakaja, and that's why the issue of Kawira Mwangaza, as government, we couldn't just allow her to go because it's only 3 months. Can we say, fine, is there a problem? Fine, okay. Problems, not all problems are solved legally. Most problems in this world are solved in another way. Talking, dialogue, and all that. The Meru problem is a political issue. It's not a legal issue. So let's not remove them. You MCS, you are still in the position. Can you now another chance of people talking? Because people have to talk. The politics or the problems of Meru have to be solved politically, not legally. So coming back here, whatever you call bad blood or what or tension or that between the deputy president, it is very shameful to begin equating, trying to talk about these are Kenya Kwanza leaders.
Yes.
Or between Sakaja, I'm supporting.
So it is not.
I'm also urging Mount Kenya leaders.
Yes.
Please don't cling to the DP like he's a village chief.
Okay.
He's a deputy president of the Republic of Kenya.
And there,
you are defending this, you are defending that. You are messing up the thinking of the president. The president is focused on the plan. You are here talking about this and this. Please, even if you are a leader, you have an opinion. You are a leader elected. You have an opinion about how the deputy president has been wronged by the Sakaja. Remember, they are all children of one government, and they report to the president. Please, can you go silently and talk about that somewhere else? Don't talk it publicly. It's not helping us. It is not. Everybody has an opinion. I come from a peace and conflict background, as you know, and I hate conflict because it's very expensive. We want to talk about peace. Let governors work. Listen, let governors, you have another year or two to gauge what they are doing. We cannot be electing people one day and tomorrow we are all chasing them with woods. It is bad. It's bad for this government. It's bad for Kenya. It's bad, even our view.
Because and what Dr. you are saying, that is very, very important, because some people have now begun worrying whether the center is actually holding. And therefore, at what particular point can a particular leader that has actually, be it maybe a cabinet secretary, maybe be it a governor, at what particular point can they make a decision that they know very well? Of course, they are competent, and as you said, these people have been elected, some of them have been appointed because of the belief that they are competent enough maybe to drive some of these agendas for the government. But then there are those who think that maybe because before you take a particular action, before you take a particular initiative, you need to consult. That is why maybe that is the reason maybe why some people or maybe some of these officials have taken some steps only maybe for others to think or maybe to have a different opinion that maybe what they've taken, maybe the step they've taken, maybe like now in the example of Sakaja, there are those maybe who think that maybe some of the steps that he has taken is not really doing well or is not actually working well maybe with people maybe from a particular region.
I think, and that's important because you see, the Constitution gave us like 6 positions. Everybody with their own duty and powers and all that responsibility. Now, that's why I'll talk about this again. Consultation, cooperation, dialogue, let people, if you feel there's something you need to do and you feel that issue may have an impact on the other person, kindly consult. And I'll say this deliberately. I'll say this very deliberately. And I'll give an example. You see, the issue of, for example, the governor of Nairobi, whatever he's trying to do, he thinks this is because of transport is under the county government, organizing of transport and all that, right? However, and I want to say this with a lot of the objectivity, Nairobi City County is not like Vihiga or Lamu or Marsabit, where the dynamics and the interests are lesser than Nairobi. Nairobi is a capital. I can tell you this. Everybody from the 46 counties have a stake in Nairobi. One way or another, they have a stake. Either economic or political or something, or social or cultural. So the thinking of now what I think then the deputy is saying.
So in other words, for him, he cannot just make some unique.
What the deputy is saying, there are some things that affect other people who are not in Nairobi, but they affect them from other places. Now, what the governor is saying, this is my blueprint. Now, what therefore I think is a matter of sitting together. And I'll tell you this, if there's one thing that the president does not entertain, is this kind of risks, because they are not necessary and they are attacking, they are actually impinging. They are making it look bad for his own plan. Because when bickering comes up about your leaders, there's a problem. So I can tell you what is going to happen. The president will sit down with the governor, he'll sit down with the deputy, and he'll sit down with the other people are even loping now, they're loping in now the prime cabinet secretary to the whole thing, and the whole thing will be solved. I can tell you, I want to see positivity myself, I want to see hope, and I want to see, because this is not a big issue that should actually go to the headlines. It's a waste of time. We should be talking about the kind of things you're asking about, cost of living, how the president and his cabinet and the PSs are going to come up very radical policies from the meeting in Nanyuki. Those are the things
we have a history in this country where similar things started like this and they really affected
now
the economy of the country.
Let us say, so because it's important. It's important that Mugicho, the prayer we are having and what as Kenyans, we want to be very particular about.
Exactly.
The kind of confusion we saw in the last government.
Exactly.
We didn't want to see it again. Where
and there could be people there could be people who are so much determined to ensure that the center doesn't hold. And some of these people actually could be coming from within. Exactly.
Now, from within, I don't know what within means, because within maybe you mean Kenya. Because what we don't want to see, what we don't want to see
Yes.
is a situation where the president and the deputy are not in tandem.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter about the constitution or anything. We must lay, and that's why we are saying, please, the people who are trying to stop fires,
Those who are planting seeds of discord.
and they are doing it in this way. You know, now trying to divide, trying to bring a division between. Oh, you president, you are good, but your deputy is talking too much, right? Is becoming ABCD. That alone is a spirit of the devil. Because if you want to bring people, God has brought together the president and the deputy, right, Mungujo? Nobody should ever think, and we are looking very seriously, who is this person? Are they coming on their own, or they are being sent by who? Okay? Right now, they are again trying to say the Prime Cabinet Secretary is even more favored. Okay?
Yes.
The DP actually is going to the burial of Pele. But the deputy president is also very busy doing other things.
Yes.
You see, there are people who I think Kenya, you want to stop fires and see how far it can go. I don't want to say it is the work of the opposition.
Yes.
I am not saying anything.
Sure.
I am not saying anything, but there are people.
That's why I was hinting it could be from outside or from within.
No, I don't know. I don't want to go with you because I don't know what you mean by inside or outside. But I'm just saying, the people who are intent on bringing some division between the president and the deputy and the prime cabinet secretary and the governors and the MCAs and the MPs and all those who have been elected under Kenya Kwanza,
Yes.
I want to tell them, please stop it. The president will not allow it. Okay. The president saw he will not allow discordance in his government, and he said he will not allow his deputy president to be disrespected the way he was disrespected. Let us take him at his word.
Kagi, unless you have Kagi, if you have a final question or maybe
we should give governors time.
You have
to
like
be
2
able
minutes.
To, we should give governors Daktari time to execute their duties. For example, when the issue of Matatu arose in Nakuru County, there was no much interference from the government because governors, by the virtue of their standing, they are the county CEOs, right? And therefore, as much as we are saying there is no that lift between the deputy and the Nairobi governor, we should also know that the governor, especially in Nairobi, should be given the independence of mind to be able to execute his duties.
But Daktari is saying the contrary. He's saying that he really needs to consult.
Is he trying to gang him because of what he is doing? I think it's not right. You're saying they should, Daktari, you're saying they should consult behind the scene. But the DP himself is trying to bring to order the governor in public.
Yes.
So he is the one who is trying to create a bad culture.
And maybe by trying
when you're trying to sort out the issues of maybe the difference between this officer and this officer in the government.
There are those also who think that maybe by Daktari saying that the government should consult a lot, you're actually demeaning him and thinking he's not competitive.
I just say this. Let me say this again and again and again. Let me say this again.
As you finish, Daktari, you're pressed for time.
Yes,
You have 30 seconds.
I don't know. And one of the things that people are taught in schools of leadership, and also from the Bible, you don't point fingers to your leaders. If you have to correct your leader, elder, or so, do it respectively. From where I sit, I know that, because if I begin saying it is a DP who did wrong by doing this to Sakaja publicly, I don't know the genesis. I don't know what happened earlier. Yeah. So can I say this? The president is well in place to make sure that he calls the people to order and speaking about which allows governors to work.
Exactly. You're pressed for time. Thank you so much. My director is telling me we don't have any more minutes. But thank you so much, Dr. Peter Mbai. We appreciate a lot your time and also your insights and contribution as far as the Mid-Morning Park Show is concerned. And we'll do it again next week at a time like this. What a show. My name is Mangicho Mola on behalf of the entire crew that has made this a success. Wishing you enjoy the rest of your viewing.
Right, and my name is Paul Kagi. I wish you a blessed day ahead.